in a super app. You can pay your bills, you can book a hotel room, you can play games, you can shop online, etc. So it's really a collection of services. So here is an example of what you can find on Grab app, which is an app, a Singaporean app that is also a super app. So actually, super apps are not only Chinese, because although it has started in China with Alipay and WeChat, more and more countries are really developing their own one, because it's a door to offer good consumer experience and try to push more products, more services for the users, and try to collect data and analyze it, and again offer more services. So it's really, in terms of interface, the best of what we can have, especially in the East. But now we see the trend is coming to the West as well. So we can see the example in India with Paytm, in Russia with Yandex, Karim in the Middle East, Gojek, in Indonesia, Grab, again, I mentioned about it before, in Singapore, and Tinkoff in Russia. And there are a lot of others like Line in Japan, KakaoTalk, etc., etc. So actually, we can see that there are lots of super apps that exist in the market, and that actually these super apps didn't start only with all their services at once. It's really started step by step. And this is what we will discover next. So yeah, super apps is really becoming a new digital hype. From this point, we can see that PayPal has announced that its super app will combine payments, will combine bill payments, will combine shopping, will combine loyalty, etc. And we have also Facebook that can be also considered as a super app, because Facebook, as you know, is social media, but also includes some shopping, it also includes some payments with Facebook Pay, etc. Other players like Vodafone, or again, we have some like large telecom companies that launch their own super apps, AirAsia as well, the airline company. So it's not anymore only an Eastern, let's say, vibe or trend, but it's really becoming a global trend. And why now companies think more and more of proposing their super app? There are many reasons. So the first one is really about trying to offer more services for the users, because it's really a door to propose this service. The second reason is more to close partnerships with the let's say companies that propose other services that's our own ones. So this is why companies now try to tend to adopt this strategy. And of course, there is the ultimate reason is to increase the revenue, because super apps includes ads. So ads is also a big part of revenue of these apps. So if we take the example of China, there are really different ecosystems than what we can see in the West. For instance, I've taken two screenshots. The screenshot in the left is a screenshot of my phone that I use here in France. So I use some apps to listen to music like Spotify, to chat with my friends like WhatsApp, to book appointments with my doctor, Doctolib, using Facebook, using Skype, using Netflix, using Instagram, LinkedIn, The Fork, etc. And what is interesting is that in China, these apps can be regrouped in terms of categories of apps into super apps, which are Alipay and Wechat. What does it mean? So for instance, when you open Alipay or when you open WeChat, you will see that there are a lot of services. For instance, Alipay has over 1,000 features that are proposed. WeChat has also several hundred of services. So these services can be offered by their own companies, either Alibaba for Alipay and WeChat for Tencent. And you have a lot of services that are offered that can be compared to what I have here in France, to listen to music, to talk with my friends, to transfer money, etc. So it's really a large ecosystem of services. And again, I would like to show you specific like super apps, especially in China, because it's where it has started. So WeChat is definitely the most used one. Then we have Alipay, we have Taobao, that is an e-commerce platform. We have the Tencent QQ, which is a messaging platform, Baidu, the search engine, TikTok, Toutiao, Meituan, etc. So all these are super apps. And in China, there are really a lot of super apps that exist. And because the user that actually is using, for instance, Meituan to get some Groupon type of deals, he will want to probably get some payment services, or he will want to get a cab, etc. So actually, it's just finding some it's just to find some openings for users and then directly propose new services. So one example of super app is WeChat. So WeChat started in 2011. It was launched by Tencent, that is one of the world's largest gaming companies, and it's a tech company. And first, WeChat was really a messaging app. Let's say continuation of QQ, that was already a messaging app from Tencent. But WeChat at first, it was really only mobile-only app, comparing to QQ that also could be used on PC. So actually, the ecosystem of WeChat is really large. So we find what we call the base layers with AI services, for example, browsing, for example, voice recognition, smart alarm, image recognition. You can, for instance, take your WeChat account and scan, let's say, a page in English and get it translated automatically in Chinese in a really short time, like a few seconds, or even less than a second. So it really has developed this technology of AI. Then there is, of course, the chat feature, because it's called WeChat, so definitely has the chat part. Exactly what we can find with Messenger or WhatsApp, etc. All the classic messaging features like text, voice, video call, voice call, etc. And then we have the, let's say, payment and financial services with WeChat Pay, including P2P payments, including card payments, paying your utility bills. You have some wealth management features. You have also cash loan, etc. So then you have other connection layers, those which are linked to people. So you can find some social network where you can post some pictures, some articles, some text, etc. You have the services, for instance, entertainment. You have some services for gaming, because Tencent is a gaming company. Also, you can have some travel features. You can book your train ticket or your flight ticket or your trip using WeChat. Then you have WeChat for Business that offers services for organizations. Here you have some human resources features. You have some emailing features. You have some let's say, financial features, etc. And last, you have the devices. So the devices all concern, for instance, cloud services and some solutions, some hardware solutions. Yeah. So you see now that WeChat is much more than a chat app. So when you see WeChat, you generally think of WhatsApp, but actually it's really, really much more developed than that. And this is just a short overview of their ecosystem. Another super app is called Meituan. So I mentioned before that Meituan was the equivalent of Groupon, but it has really a lot of features within it. You can have some payment services equivalent to PayPal. You have equivalent to Booking.com to book your tickets. You have some health tech services. You have car hailing. You have e-commerce. You have food delivery. It's really, really large. And it also can be compared with WeChat. However, their core business is not chat, but it's, let's say, service, customized service for users, an in-demand service. And then we have Alipay, that actually I will develop a bit later because we'll have a full case study on it. But actually Alipay, and this picture doesn't take into account the latest regulations that concern Ant Group and all the FinTech companies in China that actually will create organizational changes, especially regarding the credit tech part. So Huobi and JB, for instance, will be detached from the app, but still, we still have the core business that is payments. You also have some investment services. You have some insurance services. But people who will use Alipay, the 1 billion people who will use Alipay, will 60% of them will spend more time on using some lifestyle services. For example, mobility services or municipal services, local services, etc. So it's really large in terms of services. I mentioned about over 1,000 services, but you also have some gaming, etc. It's really extremely large. Now Alibaba, because we are talking about Alipay, so let's see a bit of, let's say, context and understand what is Alibaba. Alibaba is generally seen as a B2B platform because we see and we hear about Alibaba.com. It's true because Alibaba was started in 1999 by Jack Ma and 17 other co-founders, and it really started to help the small businesses to grow, especially in China, and help the factories to sell globally. That's why they launched this Alibaba.com platform. And then step by step, they developed, but their core mission was to help to make it easy to do business anywhere. So they had to develop B2B, B2C, C2C platforms, and it today became really a tech company that is among the top 5 or 6 world's largest tech companies. But it's not only about e-commerce. Generally, we compare it with Amazon, but it can be compared to Google, it can be compared to Facebook, it can be compared to Netflix, because you also have some video streaming platforms. You have some geolocation as well proposed, like equivalent to Google Maps or Apple Maps, etc. So again, it's really about an ecosystem. And in case we want to really summarize in one picture what is Alibaba, we will take this picture, especially in the right. You can see the number of platforms that Alibaba owns. So of course you have the core commerce platforms with Taobao, with Tmall. You have some international, you have some Chinese platforms, and you have consumer services, wholesale commerce, you have digital entertainment, you have some creative initiatives, tech initiatives like operating system called AliOS. And then you have all the logistics. the marketing with Alibaba, and you have the cloud with Alibaba Cloud, and finally you have Ant Group that is not a part of Alibaba, but Alibaba is an investor. Alibaba has created Alipay first in 2003, but Alipay now is a part of Ant Group that you've probably heard of previously, and also gave a course specifically on Chinese big tech and financial services. So in case you're interested in Ant Group, feel free to choose the course on Think CFTE. So Alibaba in total is around 1 billion active consumers. Most of them are in China. It's generating really a lot of like GMV over $1 trillion US, and most, I mean, around 20% of the retail sales are made through Alibaba platforms. So now let's see Ant Group. So I mentioned about the new regulation that maybe will change this picture, but for now it's still like this. So Ant Group is a company that was founded in 2015 that includes Alipay, because although Alipay was present before, now it's a part of Ant Group. It previously was called Ant Financial. And actually Ant Financial, Ant Group is the world's largest tech fin company, because we don't talk about FinTech, but tech fin, because it's a tech company offering financial services. And it includes Alipay, it includes other credit services. You have wealth management, you have InsurTech, you have online banking, and you have cloud and blockchain, etc. So now let's look at the app, how the app is structured. So actually on Alipay, you have several services. First, you have the financial service, the financial app. So in China, you will generally use a QR code. You have QR code payments. You can scan a QR code, or you can get scanned. And then you have, let's say, Pocket, that includes all the loyalty services. You can have all your loyalty cards within the app. And then you have the credit scoring service. You have the loan, microloan service. You have some gaming. You have some environmental services. You also, I mean, it really covers a lot of services, from health to communication to gaming to shopping to travel to restaurants. And you can also, for instance, the more you use the app, you can collect what we call some virtual energy that helps you to plant some trees in China. And actually, Ant Group, and thanks to Alipay, they could plant over 200 million trees in north of China. So it also has some environmental impact. Again, Alipay, although it has over 10,000 employees for Ant Group, a lot of them are tech, have tech backgrounds, are engineers, software engineers, more than 68%. And actually they have a really some, let's say, it's really about tech more than everything, right? And that's why it's really the core system that is strong, so that you can include a lot of other services. So it can be within the ecosystem of Alibaba. We can see Taobao movies, we can see Air and Rail that belongs to Fliggy, etc. We can have Taobao, but we can also have some others from external ecosystem like Airbnb or Uber that are included within the app, which means that anyone who goes overseas outside China can have access to the same services that they have in China, but with other names, with the local players. And here is why it's really powerful. On top of that, among the 1 billion users, no one will have the same page and the same app. It will be really customized. And there is also something extremely powerful is that although it's used for B2C payments, you also have some B2B interface within the app so that the merchant can also collect funds, can also open his Alipay account, can also, let's say, subscribe for value-added services directly within Alipay. So it's really large in terms of coverage. It really covers the whole ecosystem from B2B to B2C. And now let's see what you can do with Alipay in the daily life. And I took the example of myself. So, for example, I will go to get a breakfast in Shanghai at 9 a.m. and I will get my phone, my Alipay super app, and go to Family Mart and get my breakfast and pay with a QR code on Alipay. I can take the metro at 9:30. I don't need to buy a ticket. I will simply show the QR code on the QR code reader at the gate, get in. At 10 a.m., I will book an appointment with my doctor. So again, I don't need to call him or go to a specific website. I directly can do it within Alipay. At 12, I will have my lunch. So I can either choose to pay with, of course, other payment methods with Alipay, but in case I forgot my phone, I can also pay with my face, because you have a lot of stores now in China that accept payment with the biometrics, facial payment. I can buy movie tickets, I can shop online, I can pay my electricity, my water, my gas bills, I can order food delivery, I can call an Uber, I can plant a tree, as I mentioned earlier, I can make some transfer, B2B, B2C as well, C2C, and I can book a hotel room. So here is just an example of what can be a daily life using Alipay. Something extremely important to mention is that the app did not start as a super app. It really started with few services, mainly related to payment. So you can see how it has evolved from a simple app to a larger super app. We can even say standalone app to a super app. And the reason is that it has collected data and it has analyzed what the user needs, and it's developing step by step to offer this really huge platform with several services. And there is something extremely important to know is that for a really long time, all the links related to WeChat were blocked on Alipay, and all the links of Alipay and Alibaba were blocked on WeChat. So now with the new antitrust regulations in China, those links can be shared freely and without restrictions. And this is interesting because it will, let's say, generate more innovation initiatives from these tech giants, because their monopolistic behavior now is more restricted, and with the new antitrust regulations, you have more, let's say, room for others to offer services, and also for these tech giants to compete even better with each other. So here is what the homepage of Alipay looks like. So you have a location-based service on the top left that identifies where I am, and it will propose me a page based on where I am. I have some personalized recommendation and search. I have some frequently used services that directly are on the top of the page. I have some, let's say, what we call mini programs, which have been one of the greatest successes of WeChat, because WeChat has proposed to anyone who has a business to launch his own app or his own service within WeChat platform. And Alipay did the same, and now has over 2 million mini programs. Then you have the notifications and promotions, and then you have some personalized content directly pushed by merchants. And on the bottom, you have other features like digital finance and your profile, etc. So now let's see why these super apps are successful. So there are really many reasons. I mentioned about the tech reason. I mentioned more about the infrastructure that is really strong. There is also a very important point that is the culture, because it works well in China, it works well in Singapore, it works well in Indonesia, but it doesn't mean it will work well in the US, or it will work well in Brazil, or it will work well in the UK. It's really specific to the culture, because users will adapt and the company will offer services based on what the user wants. But here I really want to point out the three main reasons of success. The first one is that all these apps were not based on PC first. They were really mobile first. And this is actually what pushed users to switch to the phone. And it really started in 2010, 2011, like right after the wave of the iPhone and the rise of smartphones. And the second reason is the partnerships. The partnerships, which means that on a super app, you don't have only some services offered by company A. You have some services offered by company A that partners with company B, with C, with D, etc. And here you have really a win-win collaboration. And this is why many users will tend to use one single super app, two super apps that covers a lot of services. And last, it's more about data, because when you use this app, of course, the company collects data, tries to analyze it. It's anonymized, of course. It will not have full, like your full name when you work on it, but it's really adapting to what the user wants. And whether you click on this button, whether you buy this product, whether you want to use more car hailing, etc. So it really will adapt every day, and the app is really changing really rapidly, several times a day. So the app you are using today will not be the same as the one you use tomorrow, and the one you use will not be the same as your friend or your family use. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for choosing this masterclass about super apps. You could see that I really made a zoom on Chinese super apps because it's where it's the most developed, but other countries are also launching their own one. So probably for the next ones, I can present what PayPal is doing or some other countries, but it was really important for me to show you how it's developing in China. And I hope you could learn more about what is a super app. And again, it doesn't mean that because it's working in some countries that it will work in other countries. It's really specific to the culture and the regulations, etc. Thank you very much, and feel free to contact me on LinkedIn or on my personal website that you are seeing on this slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yassine, for a wonderful masterclass, and to the audience for engaging with the topic. If you're interested in learning more about the topic, CFTE has created the world-leading course in FinTech Foundation Specialization. You can receive an exclusive 20% off the course. Simply remember to scan the QR code on the screen or follow the link sent on the chat. And if you're a Singapore citizen or a permanent resident, you're eligible for a 90% IBF subsidy. Have a great rest of your festival and happy learning.